Hi, I'm Courtney Brooks from CMU Public Television. Every day, we're losing nature close to our homes, our quiet places where we like to escape, rejuvenate, hike, and explore. How much land have we already lost to development? How much more will we lose in the future? Tonight, we'll share with you some stories from your neighbors and communities who have found ways to protect Michigan land for future generations. They've done this with the help of Michigan Land Conservancies and land trusts, guaranteeing the present will last forever. Michigan Conservancies have the opportunity to protect the land in more ways besides an easement. Many groups can be involved, even educators and local communities.
We protect land in three different ways primarily, and one is government assist, and one's a preserve, and one is a conservation easement. And the easiest one for people to understand really is a preserve, because a preserve is what they're sort of most familiar with, because it's like a park that we hold for the public. We own the property and then manage them to have the highest amount of biological diversity of native species. A conservation easement is privately held property. It still has some of the rights reserved by the Land Conservancy so that in the future it can't be developed. But it's owned by a family, it can be transferred to another member of their family. And a government assist is a piece of property where we help some branch of government, it could be local, county, the state, acquire a piece of property that then becomes part of their park system. Any combination of tools in the toolbox can be used to get to where we ultimately want to be, which is the preservation of open and natural spaces, beautiful pieces of property like Tallmage Woods. In this case, what you have really is a conservation easement because the land is owned by the school here, by Oxbow. But you have the city having a right to have public access to this property. And both had to be preserved. So we were able to work in partnership with both. So there's some elements like a government assist, but at the same time, the nature of this backdrop provides inspiration for over 100 years for the school, remains unchanged.
There's a saying here, a common saying here in Saugatuck, that our ecology is our economy, and that's ever so true because we're one of the few, if not last remaining, harbor fronts that is natural. And that's very important because if we start developing this lake shore, then we become like any other community on the shores of Lake Michigan, and then the draw will go away. So to keep all this beautiful land natural, it's very important to us. I was the representative for the city of Saugatuck with the Oxbow School of Art, and together we worked to actually put this land into a conservation easement.
Having this as part of my role at Oxbow to put the conservation easement in place feels really wonderful in that, while things will continue to change and evolve here at Oxbow, the property is going to remain, fairly consistent with how it looks today and continue to serve generations of artists and the community at large. We have artists coming from all across the country and even internationally, so the fact that so many folks will come here to West Michigan to create and experience this landscape is a really wonderful thing. The crow's nest, of course, I think that scene, I've seen it interpreted in so many ways by so many different types of artists, and it's continuing to captivate people and has since the school's founding. I think the lagoon is also, a place of pretty high importance. You can see as you look around the shore of the lagoon that there are people right now painting. So it continues to serve as, as inspiration. But I think even beyond that, the fact that there's this piece of property that's untouched and it kind of, in many ways feels as though you're stepping back in time, I think that really provides this remarkable place for artists to explore and create without judgment and without the constraints and pools that, so many of us have in our daily lives. Also, we feel really good about the fact that so much of the riverfront coming into Saugatuck Douglas will remain untouched because of the easement as well.
What's so neat about Tallmadge Woods is it's really a peninsula that's stuck out between the Kalamazoo River and the lakeshore. And the Kalamazoo River describes the eastern boundary, the northern boundary, and it used to describe the western boundary of this peninsula. But then when the Army Corps of Engineers straightened the mouth of the harbor there for Kalamazoo, the old river channel turned into an oxbow lagoon. Now that was over 100 years ago. And so everything now in the oxbow lagoon is naturalized. It still has a connection through a huge wetland that's on the Tallmadge Woods property that provides water coming in and out, but it's cleaner than the Kalamazoo River. And so what they found in terms of fish diversity is that the fish diversity and the fish species are much greater and much better than the Kalamazoo River. Along the wetland that lines the shoreline, we have rare species. So between the birds and the butterflies and the frogs and the river and the wetland, it's a very, very diverse community. This area provides a fantastic example of an intact dune ecosystem. Everything from undeveloped Lake Michigan shoreline all the way up to these high wooded back dune ridges. And when you look at it on an aerial perspective, you see this green ribbon running alongside the Blue Lake shoreline. And what that does is it provides habitat not only for native species that live here year-round, but for migratory species that are going much further north.
I think the fact that there's this collaboration between the Land Conservancy, the city, and Oxbow really shows that there's a way to put a conservation easement in place that is agreeable to lots of different entities and serves a lot of different needs, whereby the land's preserved, Oxbow, benefits from having the unique environment preserved. Certainly the city benefits from having the natural landscape preserved and tourism and those sorts of things. And then the Land Conservancy is fulfilling its mission as well of making sure that land remains untouched.
To purchase a DVD copy of the Michigan Land Conservation Series, send a check or money order for $19.95 plus $5 shipping and handling to CMU Public Broadcasting in care of Michigan Land Conservation Offer, 1999 East Campus Drive, Mount Pleasant, Michigan, 48859. Or call 1-800-727-9268 to order by credit card.